To a young woman who has tried everything to break free from trauma and depression, treatment can seem like smoke and mirrors. To understand how treatment programs facilitate the transition from a life of despair and self-destruction to a life worth living, we need to first understand the analogy of the House of DBT. The House of DBT represents the progress an individual makes during treatment and helps to set expectations for those just beginning their personal journey of recovery and building a life worth living. This analogic home is organized into 4 different levels of progress. Stage 1. Severe behavioral discontrol becomes behavioral control. To cope with the painful feelings this young woman carries from trauma and addiction, she has developed behaviors that are destructive or life-threatening in order to feel numb or even a small amount of relief from her pain. Individuals experiencing this type of intense distress often describe themselves as feeling like they were in hell and are symbolically at level 1 of the House of DBT. In a treatment program, the primary goal of therapy in Stage 1 is to turn behavioral discontrol into behavioral control. Through observation, commitment, skills training, and building relationships of trust, therapists and staff work together with this young woman to calm damaging or dangerous behaviors so she can become safe to herself and others. Stage 2. Quiet desperation to emotional experiencing. Level 2 starts with what is commonly referred to as quiet desperation. The dysfunctional behavior of this young woman has stopped, so on the outside, she seems calm. But on the inside, she faces painful emotions caused by trauma. But in a treatment program like Sunrise, there is support for these young women every step of the way. Therapists work to reduce suffering by helping them safely experience and process these intense emotions. Through solid therapeutic practice like PTSD work and emotional exposure, the individual begins to grow beyond the power of trauma and depression to overwhelm them. This is where the real work of healing begins. As this young woman moves from feelings of quiet desperation to a state of safe emotional experiencing, she learns to experience and even sits comfortably with her traumas, removing the power these feelings once had to drive her to dysfunctional coping behaviors. Stage 3. Problems of living and ordinary happiness. As a young woman feels the desire to move forward with her life, she may realize she lacks the skills to do so, and the problems of living become apparent. She's no longer controlled by trauma or dysfunctional behavior, but she doesn't have the skills yet to take care of herself. This can feel intimidating. The program staff and her therapist will work together to set personal, growth-oriented goals. She'll be challenged to discover more about herself, explore new interests and hobbies, as well as make healthy, meaningful friendships. It's at this point that she begins to understand what it's like to feel normal happiness and unhappiness, not the terrible despair she once knew. And it's here at level 3 that she truly begins to understand what self-respect feels like from her own personal life experiences, day by day, as she works to build a life worth living. Stage 4. Incompleteness and the capacity for sustained joy. After progressing through the previous levels, there can still be a feeling of incompleteness. Level 4 of the House of DBT is meant to address this higher need. This need goes beyond simple interest in hobbies or friendships. For lack of a better phrase, this need could be described as a life worth living. This young woman and her therapist will explore this deeper need together until she is able to find fulfillment in her life in a way that resonates with her values and where she wants to go with her future. It's the goal of Sunrise to help every young woman leave the program, not just healthy, but with their own real-life change. The House of DBT is not just scaffolding for treatment, but a preparation for a fulfilling future. Those who go through the different levels of the House of DBT leave with a renewed perspective on the world and their place in it. And with real-life change in hand, they're able to retain their capacity to experience joy and weather whatever seasons or storms may come their way.